My dazzling keynote speaker, Toastmaster Fursey, my sparkling Toastmaster Supernovos, my scintillating Zoom Master Adarsh, and my stunning Anita and Deepa, and my dear fellow Toastmasters and guests. I, Milind Kulapkar, Sergeant of Arms, welcome you all to the enchanting, enthralling, engrossing meeting of my club, 1254322, the Speech Weavers Toastmasters Club, Bangalore. Our club's mission is to provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. Toastmasters have helped people from diverse backgrounds to become more confident communicators and leaders. I request you all to uphold the cardinal principle of every Toastmasters meeting, to keep your electronic gadgets muted at all times, and for which I give you 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And keep your audio microphone also muted. Unmute only when you are invited to speak. Keep your video on at all times unless you are moving in and out of the room. As an encouragement to every role takers and speakers, make sure to applaud them virtually. Role takers and speakers will consciously refrain from expressing their views on sex, politics, and religion to ensure that the sentiments of audience are not heard. Now it's time to welcome our club president. He can speak 6 English. He can speak 6 Indian languages. And in a very special way, he can read and sing in Latin during church services. Besides that, he is also the area director of a district thousands of miles across the 7 seas. So let us know from him which are the 6 Indian languages which he can speak, and which is the area and the district where he is the area director. So please join me in welcoming with round of applause Toastmaster Joseph Benedict.
Danken Sie bitte, dear Milenji. Thank you very much in German. Guten Abend. Good evening, Toastmasters, distinguished Toastmasters, and my dear loving audience. A warm welcome to you to the Speech Weavers Club. Today you will enjoy the great speeches from the master speaker from all the way from Texas. He is attending here today to give you a wonderful word of wisdom for the ongoing upcoming contest of our Toastmasters. We all welcome you and enjoy this meeting today. I acknowledge the keynote speaker today and the audience, also the other club members who are coming for us to help us in our club meetings. And some of them I have seen here is Anita Rao, Suparna Bose, and our keynote speaker. I will introduce him later on, and our guest, and Priya, Daniel Hong, I stop Badmus. Warm welcome to one and all. I bring the meeting number 705 in order. Ladies and gentlemen, our club is called the Community Club. Is this just for a meaning of community club? Or other clubs where I'm a vice president in Malaysia, and that club is called Family Club. Now, why these clubs are designated like that? There are also corporate clubs. I understand. But what are their functions by designating, just running the meeting and finishing it off, or is there any other activity? The Malaysian club happens to be a family club. What the president does there, the president always takes them to a excursion, outings, restaurant. There are so many other entertainments for their members. And that is called a family tradition. Toastmasters is a fraternity. Therefore, the family is a more important thing, just not only coming for the meeting alone. It has to be other entertainment also. That's what Smedley said. Dr. Smedley says that your knowledge will be spread only by starting with the entertainment. So what community club has to do? Do you know, in our community, in our Toastmasters, there is a person, how much you are communicating to each other. In our Toastmaster family of Speech Weavers Club, there is one house where the father was not well. How many of you have contacted that person to give you moral courage? There is one more person whom I talked to, has 3 babies that was born to him recently. And he says he's very busy with that. Is it a happy news? So where are we connected? As a community, we need to connect each other, talk to each other. In fact, we can meet each other because there is no COVID anymore. You don't have to worry about that one. People are now free and they can go anywhere. So why don't you meet? Then somebody will say, I don't have a time. You have to fix the time. There are so many things we don't have time for us. But if you fix the time, there is definitely a time for you. There is definitely a time for gathering. Why we should not arrange a meeting with hybrid meeting? Those who are away, they will be on the network. At least those who are here, we can gather. We can go for it. So what I think, that community club should take care of each other's welfare, their difficulties, their happiness, and share their requirements and help them at the time of what they need whenever it is, either it is medical or it is any other occasion, whatever it is, there should be always a contact. If you call it as a community club, that is the meaning of it. Just for the sake of putting a board and nobody is meeting and no one wants to contact, that is not fair. Therefore, let us understand what a community club is and let us gather one time, have a good dinner or lunch or snacks or whatever it is. Take a time for it, because you will never have time again for this situation. Now, today, I'll be the contest chair, the event chair, sorry. Today, let me call the contribution of, as NGO, the founder, Father Ralph Smedley in 1924, formed a club at YMCA in Santa Ana, California. The Toastmaster mission is to provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. What is the core value? The core value, one, integrity, respect, service, and excellence. Today, we have 280,000 members, 144 countries, 14,700 clubs, where the Speech Weavers is one of the clubs to be proud of. Today, our meetings have three sessions. Addressing the club by the keynote speaker on the title, and prepared speech and evaluation session, and followed by many other regulations. Now, I am as an event chair, would like to invite our keynote speaker. It is a much awaited part of today's program. The speaker is a 3 times district champion, winning in District 25 and 85 in both table topics and international speech contest. In 2020, he reached the semi-finals of the World Championship of Public Speaking and was a finalist in 2022. In August of 2020, he won the District 25 Toastmaster of the Year. He's a lifelong educator and has been teaching theater and speech over 30 years. It's a great, great time that he has spent, really. It's a wonderful time. And he might have had so much of experience, and also the people who attend him also had a greater experience in life. As a Toastmaster for over 40 years, he has been sharing his insight of successful speaking around the globe, including China, Mauritius, Greece, Australia, Canada, and his home states of Texas. I hope Fursey will tell me the Texas is safe, not as that much dangerous as then Kennedy was there. And now he's ready to help you move forward on your personal speaking journey. Are you ready? Say all, yes, we are ready. Let us give big applause to DTM Fursey Gotuaco for the par excellence speech he will give you today. Warm welcome to you, sir. The stage is yours.
Thank you, Toastmaster Joseph, and hello, Speech Weavers. Oh my gosh, it is always good to visit this club. I really believe, for me, this is where so much happened that started me on a global excursion. And I want to thank Deepa Sampath Kumar, because she's the one who first introduced me. I think this was the first club in India I ever visited. And many of you are here because you're in part of our group that you know it's Deepa who's making those groups happen. So I want to personally, that's my gratitude to her. I thank you. Today, what we are going to talk about, today is your network. You see, all of you are part of my network. Deepa is part of my network. Toastmasters is our 5G network. Now, many of you, go ahead. Who's got a cell phone? Let's just get this out of the way. Who's got their cell phone on? Okay, see, I appreciate those of you that had to reach down and get it, because others of you have the cell phone and you're kind of like, I write it right here. And when Fursey starts to get a little boring, I'm just going to start texting somebody going, I don't get this guy. That's a horrible haircut, by the way, Fursey. We all have cell phones. My question is, who's got 5G? Who's got 5G? Huh? Somebody, Adarsh has 5G. Some people got 3G, maybe some 4G. Did I just put 4 fingers up for 3? Good math, huh? I was counting the negative space in between. Thank you very much. Who's got 3G, 4G, 5G? 5G. I had to look this up. I'm a fine arts guy. I'm not a tech guy. Sometimes it's all I can do just to get the Control Alt Delete. You know what I'm saying, Adarsh? Control Alt Delete. I'm like, I know nothing else besides Control Alt Delete today. Anita, I'm not a tech guy. I had to look up what 5G meant. In my mind, it's like a road. You got 1G, 2G, 3G, 4G, 5G. So it's just a bigger road. Oh no, my tech friend said. 5G is the future. When you think about analog, very basic, just a limited amount of information and a certain kind of information. When we're looking at 5G, and I apologize to anyone who knows more than I do, and I'm totally butchering it. All right, Manoj, I'm sorry. You're probably a good tech guy, and Fursey's about to totally mess this up. And what do you get from a Texan in China, right? 5G is built, not just one bandwidth, but many different ones, many different wavelengths, to accommodate technology that we don't even have. What? Yes, it's like building a road for cars that we haven't invented yet. Let's build a road for a car that doesn't even touch the road, like Star Wars. Let's build a 5G network that allows for private and personal networks. And that's what I think Toastmasters is, our personal 5G network for communication. Who needs a cell phone when you got Toastmasters? Let's take the first G, 1G, simple, it's yourself. How do you speak to yourself? For some of you, this might be simple, and yet it might be one of the hardest things we have to do. The 1G network, being able to look at the mirror and say to yourself, hey, you told yourself that you were going to go on a diet this year. Huh? Right? Yeah, some of us told us that. Some of us looked in the mirror and said, you're going to go on a diet. I told myself last year at this time, I told myself, you're going to learn Mandarin and give a speech in Chinese. Did I do it? Well, it took me 6 months to get going on it. And every day I had to have a conversation with myself. Fursey, get on it, get on it, get on it. Think about some of the folks who aren't here yet. Adarsh, I know you've got more members than this. Some people had the conversation with themselves to be here, and they made the choice not to be here. It's the conversation we have with ourselves. That's the first G. We set our goals. Goals. We set goals for ourselves, and we target those goals, and we aim for it. The second G, the kind of communication we have with one other person. Maybe it's somebody that you know at work. Maybe it's parents, brother, sister, mother-in-law. No. Anita's like, nope, I don't even talk to my mother-in-law. Maybe it's a loved one. Valentine's Day coming up. I don't know if that's a big deal where you're at. The second G is gratitude. When we speak to one other person, sometimes it's difficult. And I'm not just talking about mother-in-laws. I'm talking about anyone where we may have conflicts. Gratitude. I think if we start with a level of gratitude, being able to say thank you to somebody, it opens up that line of communication. Without that note of gratitude, it's like, no, don't like you anymore. No, don't like you anymore. No, don't like you anymore. We have to be the first to say thank you. We have to be the first to say thank you. I did that this past holiday. Sometimes my conversations with my mother, I'm sure I drive her up the wall, but I drove myself up the wall. And I thought, I'm not sure I like the person I become when I'm around her. I get so frustrated. But then I went to her and I said, Mom, I want to thank you for everything you've done for me. And I listed off a bunch of things, starting with bringing me to the United States, starting with helping me get through college, starting with helping me find my values for how I work with people. Gratitude opens up that line of communication like you wouldn't believe. That's the 2. The 3G is when you have a group of people, like when you're an officer, like Joseph. Joseph, you work with a team of officers to put together this event to keep this club moving forward. When we are working with a group of 4, 5, 7 people, and not just talking to each one one-on-one, but getting them to work together and helping them to grow. That's the 3G network. When you are taking this group of people, putting them together and saying, let's grow, and getting them to work better together than they would have done alone. Some people call that synergy. But it starts with the mindset that they can grow together. Not just grow together that way, but they grow together. They move towards each other in growth. How do you get people to talk to each other? Obviously, each one has to have that conversation with themselves to say, I can do this. And then they have to be able to speak to each other with gratitude. And together, they grow. That's our 3G. We find it at work in our teams. We find it in our families when we've got to, hey, can we all get together so we can throw mom and dad, our father, our mother, a good party, an anniversary party? We have to grow together. I have a family of 7 kids. I'm number 6. That means I'm way down on the pecking order. You know how hard it is to get your older brothers and sisters to listen to you? This is the challenge we have. This is the challenge we have, to be able to communicate with them one-on-one in such a way that they want to communicate with each other and grow. The 4G, and this is the G of communication that most people join Toastmasters for. That idea that we might have a group of 20, 30, 40 people. Let's all talk to them. Let's move this small company forward. Let's move this small division of 40 people forward. Let's move this division into greatness. Greatness. We have a vision. And we want to motivate this team together towards that greatness. That's the 4th G, greatness. Are you willing to strive for greatness? Most people will tell you that the reason why they joined Toastmasters was to improve their public speaking. Why do they stay? Why do you get people like Deepa and Milan and Joseph and even Adarsh? Why do we have these people staying in Toastmasters? Because they start to realize, oh, there's a strength in here. I can achieve more. I don't want to just talk to my group of 4 or 5. I want to speak to a room full of people. Set a goal, set a vision, and drive them towards greatness. Every Wednesday, I'm in front of my faculty. Many of you know me. I'm a teacher at heart, but I'm an administrator by job. And I lead a group of 40, 45 teachers every day. And every week, I'm in front of them. And I have to gather them together and say, come on, this is going to be great. I know that you get tired, but we can be great. I know the kids get on your nerves, but we can be great together. It encapsulates the 1, the 2, the 3, the 4 G's of communication within Toastmasters. This is what most people see themselves as, being able to talk to a group of people and say that we are going to move forward with this project. We are going to move this country out of debt, this company out of debt, and we're going to achieve greatness again. So what do you think the 5G is? If we've spoken to everybody in the room and achieved 4G, and what's the 5th G? What happens when we speak beyond the walls? What happens when we speak beyond these walls and outside of these people in this room? When we talk about 1, 2, 3, and 4G, it's often people we know. Now imagine giving this speech to people you don't know. When you speak about 1, 2, 3, and 4, you're finding a commonality between yourself and yourself, yourself and those people, these people and these people, our group together that bonds them. Now imagine finding something that everyone has in common, setting that tone, finding that universal truth. Finding that universal truth. The truth that you know, not just off the tip of your tongue, but the truth that you know in your heart. Because when you start to think of global messages, like when I'm there standing in front of a camera at the World Championship of Public Speaking, I cannot just speak to one. I cannot just have this narrow bandwidth of a message. I have to have this bandwidth of a message. I have to be able to say, this is true for everyone. Like, why can't we make children a priority in every country in the world? A universal truth, a global message to speak to people. There's a window right over here. There's a window right over here. And you can see, I don't know if you can see much outside, and this thing doesn't even open. But when you say out there, hey world, I got something to say. And you say something like, listen, women in this world, they've got to be treated as equal to the men. The children in this world, we got to take care of them. We have to educate them. That no longer are we going to tolerate fakeness, that we must be authentic with each other. And maybe that starts with our family. Oh, yes. You see, to be global with the 5G, you realize that you have to have a message that's in your heart, and to say that message, to speak that message, you have to start not just with the world outside your room. You got to start with yourself. Your own countryman said that, didn't he? Be the change you want to see the world. Who remembers who said that? Come on, I don't need to tell you. You know. Yes, Deepa?
Gandhi.
Boom! Boom! We have refreshments today, Adarsh? Do we have refreshments for the meeting? Because I'm going to give Deepa an extra cup of whatever you got in that little punch bowl.
Happy to have.
There, a little, will you? We have to be able to look ourselves in the mirror. We have to go back to the 1G. If we want to accomplish the 5G, we've got to go back to the 1G. And we've got to make sure that we're not speaking with our tongue, we are speaking with our heart. Why? Because people out there are not just listening with their ears. They're listening with their hearts. They are listening with their hearts. Who cares how good your phone is if you can't tell your mother that you love her? Who cares how good the telephone lines are if you can't find the right words to say I'm sorry to someone who needs it? Oh, it's a cycle. The 1, the 2, the 3, the 4, and then the 5G that comes right to the 1. And it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing when you find how you can speak from your heart. We go from goals to gratitude to greatness, to growth, to greatness, to global. This is our 5G network. This is what we have at our fingertips here in Toastmasters. This is what you celebrate at your anniversary. This is what you celebrate at your anniversary. Another birthday celebrating, helping people find their 5G network so that they can go to their loved one and say, I love you. So that they can say to a group of people, I love you and I'm proud of you. So they can say to a room full of people, you are great and I love you. To say to the world, I love you. To say to the mirror, I love you and mean it. That's the mirror of authenticity right there. I want to thank you for giving me this opportunity to be authentic with you about what I care about. And I hope that all of you have a great birthday. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster. I believe you are muted, Joseph.
Joseph, sir, I think you're muted. You'll have to unmute yourself.
It's a wonderful speech connecting in 5G, individual conversation, expressing gratitude to grow together, achieve a goal, and finally global connection. A wonderful connection for all the individual to the families. Just like I spoke this morning about this beginning of my meeting about the community connection, this 5G is a wonderful way of another expression for a family connection. Thank you so much for this wonderful wisdom that you have given to us. And we carry on with that as we grow in Toastmasters. For this, we have a moderator because we need to have some people need a question and answers on if they are not able to understood or if they want to have more knowledge on the 5G speech. We have a wonderful person who is a moderator as a functional analysis operation solution in Airbus. It is not an Airbus airplane, but it is the destination of the Airbus office. She has been a past of Toastmaster for over 3 years now. She served as Associate Area Director, Area D2, and the President of Airbus India Toastmaster Club during the term 2020 to 2021. And has served as the Division DPR Manager, a part of the District 92 PR team, and as a Coordination PR Chair for 2021 to 2022. Wonderful achievement lady, I could say. What is the drive that she wants? It's challenging the status quo innovation at workplace and commitment to being a better version of herself every single day. It must be puzzling for the parents because every single day she is growing different kind. If the ID card is same, that will be better. Put your hands together to welcome our one-on-one Toastmaster, Suparna Bose. Over to you, Suparna Bose. The stage is yours.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Joseph sir, for inviting me today to the meetings of Speech Weavers Toastmasters Club. And once again, a great speech by our chief guest, our keynote speaker, distinguished Toastmaster Fursey. Thank you so much. I think I feel very privileged to witness your speech today, because I've heard a lot about you, but never got a chance to witness your speech in person, virtually, and it was really a fantastic experience. When I saw the title of your keynote speech, it made me think, are you really going to talk about the 5G network? But then I also thought maybe it's something more than that. And yes, you did prove me right. The way you tried to correlate the 5G network to the 5G network that we have right here in Toastmasters, amazing correlation. And my key takeaways from your keynote speech were the different G's, the way you tried to connect the goals to gratitude, to greatness, to growth, to greatness, and finally going global. And again, bringing it back to the main, to all of us as in terms of goals. So thank you so much. And yes, I will be the Q&A moderator today. And once again, thank you, Joseph sir, for inviting me to this session. So with that, I would open the floor for any questions. Please let me know. You can put it up in the chat box. And distinguished Toastmaster Fursey, I do have a few questions myself, which I would like to ask you. So please let me know what are your thoughts. So in terms of you as a public speaker, with someone who has such a renowned personality, someone who has achieved so much in the field of public speaking, what motivates you to do what you do?
I appreciate the questions.
You are muted, sir.
We cannot hear you.
Check.
Yes, now it's clear.
Audible for a few seconds, but I think we have lost you again.
Yes. Unable to hear you, sir. Could you repeat? No, we are not able to hear you. Is it just for me?
No, I don't think any of us are able to hear.
Yes.
Check the 5G, sir. The 5G should work from Texas.
Check. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2.
Yes.
All right. Well, let's give this a shot. Okay. Well, I appreciate you asking me that question, Suparna, and I appreciate the patience that everybody showed. So much for 5G network. Have you ever been there talking to somebody and they didn't understand you? Have you been right there talking, using every word that you know, using every emotion that you know, and you still can't get through? I deal with this every day. I have students who can't talk to their parents. I have students who can't talk to each other. I have teachers who can't talk to students, and they want to talk to students. If I can help them get better at their communication so that they can lead happier lives, I'd be a pretty happy camper myself. I think that's part of what drives.
Thank you so much, distinguished Toastmaster Fursey, for those thoughts. And I do understand your motivation, that you can make someone talk in a way that they can communicate what they really want to say. Thank you so much. Can we have some questions from the audience next?
I have one,
Yes.
and it's a little peculiar, but I'll just ask. So, if you were Ralph C. Smedley, and if you were like reborn as Ralph C. Smedley, and you had a chance to rejiggle the syllabus of Toastmaster, what is one thing you would probably create on your own?
I think that everyone who speaks should have this haircut. There it is. Ralph, you got nice hair, but this is where it's at. And everybody should be just like this. It creates humility. It's humble. And not only that, but the glare from the light makes everybody look like a saint, a little shiny. I think it helps speakers. Don't you, Joseph? I think one of the things that I would talk to Ralph about is say, Ralph, I appreciate all the things that you built into Toastmasters to help us. But we've gotten so ingrained, Ralph, we've gotten so ingrained in doing things Toastmaster way, like table topics. We're so used to speaking for 2.5 minutes, or actually it's 2 minutes with a 30-second grace period and a timer and a great little prompt. It's not real. When in life do we have all of that? When in life does somebody say, well, you know what I did the other day, and then we're supposed to go, and I want to join the conversation now. And so I have 2.5 minutes, and within the first 5 seconds, somebody interrupts you. That in real life, we don't have a timer. In real life, people don't sit there quietly and wait for us to finish. We need a way. We need to have a segment of Toastmasters where we learn how to have discussion, not just that one little project, but it's a whole section where we learn to have discussion and we learn how to speak clearly and quickly. We learn how to take a story and move it around, shift it different lengths of time so that we can do it for a job interview. So we can take that story and do it for our boss who happened to stop and talk to us on the way to the office, so that we can do it for our neighbor who's in the elevator with us. The proverbial elevator speech, which we don't even do in Toastmasters. So I think we need a segment where speeches are a little bit more practical. It's not that I don't like what we have. I think it's important what we have, but we need to always remember that not a single person joined Toastmasters so we could have more DCP points, not a one. So we have to help our people, our members, achieve through our speech projects something that's outside in the real world we really want.
Thank you, Fursey. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Fursey, and thank you, Anita, for that question. Any other question from the audience? Okay, so while you're still thinking what to ask, I have a question already. Fursey, my question is there any decision that you have made in your life which you feel was the best decision of your life? What has it been? And would you like to share it with me?
Yeah, I think that best decision was shaving my hair. We're back to that again. I'm kind of stuck on that, aren't I? I think my best decision was joining Toastmasters. It has changed my perspective. It has given me a whole new door and window to my life. I love my job. I love everything that I do in my job, but everything in my job is to work with students for whom some of their realized successes don't come until 10, 15, 20 years later. Toastmasters, I'm able to speak with and talk to and coach and mentor people like yourselves who can do something immediately with the information I give them. And so I kind of get the gratification that I get to see people immediately benefit from what I can do for them.
Thank you.
I have a question, sir.
Yes.
The technology is going on, improving day by day, year by year, and so on. Now, from 1G, we came to 5G. Do you think that there's any upgradation later on this 5G to any other extent of Gs you expect?
Yeah, I believe there's going to be a 6G, and that 6G has one purpose, and that's to make me look thinner on camera. I'm just saying, who's up for that? Right? 6G makes you look thin. I think technology is going to keep outpacing itself all the time. Like, take a look at that chat GBT where you can ask it a question and it comes up with all of that. But I don't know whether all of that or whether greater technology and greater bandwidth is really going to help us be better communicators. I think ultimately we have to be able to speak from the heart with authenticity. Otherwise, no amount of video or audio or batteries or bandwidth is going to help us live a happier life.
Thank you, sir. That's a wonderful suggestion. Everyone has to speak from their heart on for the greater connection, whatever may be the G's.
Yes,
So,
and better haircut too.
Okay. So any other questions from the audience before we close the Q&A?
Dr. Pasha, you have any questions? Milind, sir?
Apologies, sir. I think we're running out of time, so I think we'll have to close the Q&A session.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you, Fursey, for that amazing keynote session. And I'm looking forward to attending many more events where you would be a speaker for, and to imbibe the knowledge that you have been sharing over the years to all of us who are hungry for knowledge. Thank you so much, Fursey, again, for gracing this occasion. And again, once again, thank you, Toastmaster Joseph, sir, for inviting me. Over to you.
Thank you, Speech Weavers. Partner.
Thank you so. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
No, I was going to tell you thank you for having me. I appreciate it. And I know that Deepa Sampath Kumar has a little QR code that she's going to post so anybody can join us in our chat group. And you can learn so much about the art of speaking between what she's doing and her feedback and my periodic feedback. It's a great group to belong to.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Toastmaster Suparna Bose, for your role is highly appreciated in connecting the audience with the speaker. And it was wonderfully done. And you had also your great questions of wisdom. Thank you so much for coming and helping us in gracing this occasion. Now we are coming to the speech session. We have two speakers today. Our first speaker today will be delivering a speech from Pathway Leadership Development Level 2, Project 1, Managing Time. Before that, I would call upon his evaluator 1 to read the objectives of the speech. The evaluator is the Toastmaster who joined in 2015 and became Distinguished Toastmaster in 2020. He's also club coach to 3 corporate clubs, GSK, Rockwell Automation, and Intel in Bangalore. Professionally, is qualified company secretary and law graduate. He's a non-executive resident director on the board of 2 multinational companies. Great, sir. He's on the expert committees of Bangalore Chamber of Industries and Commerce, Confederation of Industries, Karnataka chapter. If anybody is a businessman, you can contact him for your any requirement from his side, if he could help you in taxing or any commercial taxes, such and such forth. Let us join hands in welcoming the distinguished Toastmaster Milind Kuvalkar. Over to you, sir. You have to speak on the objective of the speaker's project. Over to you.
Thank you, sir. The purpose of this project is for the speaker to observe his time management pattern. Timer, please note, the time is 5 to 7 minutes. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Toastmaster Milindji. Our first speaker is working as a software engineer in Accenture. His hobbies are playing football, cricket, farming. His vision is to become public speaker, teaching communication skills to rural students, doing organic farming, supplying chemicals, and free food to society. It is a zigzag like organization, definitely needs a time to go from one end to the other end to the other end. It's really requiring a time. Let us join hands in welcoming Toastmaster Venu Karthik. Toastmaster Venu Karthik, time management, Toastmaster Venu Karthik. Over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Joseph, sir. One of the most important hurdles in any speakers make is managing their time. And the reason behind this is because of their busy schedule, and they will be occupied with many things in their day-to-day life, such as they are busy with their office works, and they are busy with their family relationships, and they are spending time in fun and entertainment things. So generally if any task is assigned to anyone, they will say we are short of time, because they are not aware on which area they need to focus, and what are the priority things they need to focus. So in order to maintain your focus and consistency, we need to develop the habits, daily habits. So the daily habits, which will, if we repeat those daily habits, then we can become consistent, and we will be disciplined, and we can focus on our task. So let me explain you about an 80-20 rule, which is also called as Pareto's principle. He is an economist. According to this 80-20 rule, most of us share this 80-20 rule in our day-to-day life. For example, 80% of the employees will do only 20% of work, whereas 20% of the employees will do 80% of their work. We can also compare this to our life as well. For example, we are spending 80% of our time doing unproductive things, and 20% of us are only doing unproductive things which will add more value to your life. For example, this 20% rule is nothing but these are vital few. These are called as vital few activities. For example, these vital few activities are spending time in fun and entertainment activities, gossiping in your offices, and also spending time in watching web series, Netflix, and spending time in traveling and parties. So this will not add much value in any one of our life. So we should focus on this 20%. These all are called as 80%. These all activities belong to 80% rule, whereas 20% rule activities belongs to our self-development, nothing but self-learning. So these are the activities where going to gym and doing regular exercises and practicing any new skill, or working upon your presentation and giving a speech in any of the stage. All these are belonging to 20% activities, and these are boring activities which are not comfortable, which needs a lot of efforts and time to practice these activities. So most of the people will skip these activities. The reason behind that is people are always want to spend their time in spending their time in entertainment activities, and they want to be comfortable. They don't want to do the boring things. Whenever we do these boring things repeatedly, that will become an habit to us, and we will be we can achieve any of the task, and by this we can maintain consistency, and by this we will follow discipline, and we know how to complete the task. The main problem is not the time management. The main problem is actually priority management, because most of the people don't know how to prioritize any of the tasks. If we are assigned with any of the tasks, we will be panic, and we will quit that task there itself. The reason behind quitting is the easier thing which we can do, which doesn't need any efforts. So the people will quit. So instead of that, if we focus on this 20% activities and we are consistent, we will be able to succeed in our life. And there is all the successful people, they will utilize their time very efficiently. That is the reason they are successful. And there is also a concept called attention economy concept, which is the people in this digital era, they will be diverting our attention towards their advertisements. For example, we will be watching their short reels, and we will be watching their courses, and because of this they will try to pull our attention and they will make money, but we will not be benefited with this with their concept. So it is there is also called an high frustration tolerance in psychology. When we are able to do these boring things, we will be developing our high frustration tolerance, so that generally all of us will be having low frustration tolerance, where we will be expecting the results immediately, and we want a quick response for any of the problem. This is a low frustration tolerance, but we need to shift our mindset from low frustration tolerance towards high frustration tolerance. Once we shift to this HFT, our way of doing things will gradually shift from comfort zone to uncomfort zone. When we move towards uncomfort zone, we can easily tackle any of the tasks, and we will be consistent doing those things, and we can move towards successful track. And this LFT is like a dreaming world, and this HFT is like it is in a realistic world. So we should learn to manage our time, and we need to do audit for our time. So I request all the audience to do your audit on time, and whatever the things you are spending more time, wasting more time instead of doing some productive task. So I will conclude my speech by saying the words, if not today, then when we can do. So time management is life management. So thank you, everyone. Over to you, DTM Milind sir.
Joseph sir, you have to unmute yourself.
Let us give a great applause to the speaker. Well done, Toastmaster. We know it's an excellent speech, a good delivery, but only thing is that the light problem seems to be there on your background. Please correct that one. Now, let us go to our second speaker. Today, she's presenting the pathway is effective coaching, level 3, elective. Project is research and presenting. Before I could call her, I would like to call upon the second evaluator to read the objective of the second speaker. The evaluator is an entrepreneur for 2 ventures, the mind stream and the money stream. Very beautiful. Both the streams, if they meet, it really brings you good luck. Her free time is spent on cooking, reading, gardening, and traveling. But cooking needs a perfect time, not a free time. but reading, gardening, and traveling is on your own. She was two-time treasurer and two-time secretary of Garden City Toastmaster Club. Two-time treasurer is a lot of money. Over to you, Toastmaster Anita Rao, to speak about the purpose of this speech.
Thank you so much, Joseph sir, and good evening to all the Toastmasters. Privileged to be evaluating my speaker, and she knows why. We have a very healthy mutual regard. The purpose of her speech today is to learn or review basic research methods and present a well-organized, well-researched speech on any topic of her choice. Over to you, Joseph sir, and all the best to my target speaker.
Thank you, Toastmaster Anita Rao. Our second speaker is a public speaking coach based in Bangalore, Passion Toastmasters, for 5 years now with the experience in leadership roles from club level to the district level and extensive mentorship experience. She is an area level table topic winner 3 years consecutively. Have been invited to present educational session on a wide range of topics in over 10 plus countries. She was in Speech Weavers Club, just like we always have a full moon once in a month only. But our full moon went for 6 months and it's back again. A nature's change is highly appreciated. Let us join hands in welcoming Deepa Sampath Kumar. Deepa Sampath Kumar, 2 rules of speech writing. Deepa Sampath Kumar, over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Joseph, and a good evening to everybody here at Speech Weavers Club. Have you ever wondered how people wrote speeches historically? I mean, 7,000 years ago, how did they write? They didn't have paper, they didn't have pen, they didn't have a computer, not a stylus, not a phone. How did they write speeches? They didn't write speeches back then. They just learned it. Because here's a very interesting thing. It was only 100,000 years ago, we as a species began to develop language. We started speaking. And only around 5,000 years ago, somewhere in Syria, that we started writing or documenting a speech. The written script came about only 5,000 years ago. So back then, when people didn't know how to rewrite a script, how did they remember speeches? How did they give speeches? That goes on to the understanding of how we really should develop our speeches, or how we should write speeches. Now that we have a tool in our hands, that we have all our papers, pens, our applications to write, we need to take some cues from that practice. Now, language is an instinct. It's called the language instinct, as put by the author Steven Pinker. Babies are born, babies will learn to speak even if you don't teach them. They will some way verbalize their thoughts, but they will never be able to write a language. It's something that we created as human beings. Now, let me tell you that speeches are focused on the medium. Now, how do we speak? The medium of speech that we have is auditory. We listen to it. We don't read it. We don't have something that we read out, but we are listening. We're looking at the speaker and we're listening to the speaker. The medium is primarily sound. And so we have to write in order to make that medium a success. Now, let me highlight how this works by giving an example and trying some person to try this exercise. Let me share my screen. Could I get screen share access?
Yes, Deepa, I can go ahead.
So I want a volunteer to read the text that I've typed here. Can somebody raise their hand, or maybe I'll call out a name otherwise? Sorry. Could you help me with who raised their hands? Okay, DTM Milind, you can go ahead and read this. Let me just maximize it.
Unmute, sir.
You are still on mute.
You're speaking on mute,
Oh,
Milind, sir.
okay, sorry. Hi, my name is Milind Gotuaco. I have been looking for a personal coach to help me in my communication journey that would allow me to turn into a confident person who finds it easy to enunciate and articulate ideas in English well. I searched for a coach with affordable fee, flexible sessions, customized training, remote learning, and high quality. I ended up choosing Deepa Sampat Kumar because of a solid reputation, skillful teaching methodology, and wonderful testimonials from my references. I have chosen the 30 hours proficiency program for beginners along with customized support, which I can apply to receive feedback and correction before the important presentation, interviews, or speech.
Thank you, DTM Milind. Please give him a big round of applause. You see, this was written and Milind was reading out the speech. Whereas if I asked Milind to now tell the gist of what he read out in a tone that he is comfortable with, we are going to be more intently listening. We're going to be more engaged. But since it was written and he didn't know exactly what he was going to read, it didn't feel right. And also there are so many commas. Did you observe there are so many commas in the sentences? And somewhere down the line, I believe most of you lost the track of where we were going towards. The sentences were long. And so these are visual clues for writing. But while speaking, we don't have these. Therefore, the number one rule for writing a speech is never write to speak, but speak and then write. So speak and then write. Many of you here, especially, I think there is Toastmaster Manoj. He's just known for his brilliant writing skills. Most of his speeches sound like poetry. I always tell him, write, speak, and then write, and include that gist of whatever you wanted to share in this form of speaking. Number one rule is always speak and then write. And when you do that, the sentences become shorter. You will have hedges and you will have intensifiers. What are hedges and intensifiers? Hedges are words like kind of, sort of. That's okay to have, although the our counter may object. These are hedges, and intensifiers are words like really and expressing that. All of those are intensifiers. These are very common in conversational speeches, and they're good to use in a speech as well. That being the number one rule, let's now go to the rule number two. Now, you ask, now, why then do we still write speeches since it's not the natural way to do? It's a tool that we developed and we can use it. Now, most speeches in Toastmasters, at least in, let's say, the World Championship of Public Speaking, they tell, did you write a speech? They will always tell, yes, I wrote a speech. I rewrote a speech 100 times. They'll usually tell that as the answer. So what then happens when they rewrite a speech so many times? They, of course, make it in a way that suits the speech, speaking style. But what they also do here is they make sure that they add context and prosody. That is the second rule. Always add context and prosody. Now, what is context and prosody, you must ask? Context is telling people, making it easy to absorb, any content to be absorbed. Whenever you talk about any speech, people shouldn't be at a quandary as to where this is headed. They must know what is the context. It should be easily absorbed. So keeping things simple is in other ways, context and prosody is keeping things simple is rule number two. And that is done by setting the context and setting the prosody. Prosody is nothing but using our voices, our pitch, our pauses, our expressions to make it easy for absorption. Now, what happens in a speech is a sound wave hits your ear, and then your brain starts processing immediately. As soon as I utter a word, your brain starts processing. Like a professor in MIT, a neurologist, neuroscience professor, she said that it's used in artificial intelligence. It's called the next word approach. The brain automatically starts guessing what's the next word that's going to come from the other person. So make it easy for that audience member to guess what the next word is. Let them not have so many choices that they start thinking slow. Let them think, but let them think fast. So make sure you set a context. You tell them, hey, this is what I'm going to tell you. This is why I'm going to tell you. And this is how I'm going to tell you. And where I'm going to head next is going to be easy for you to absorb. So rule number 2 is simplify, set a context, set a prosody with your pitch, pause, and so on. So with these two new insights into something that's very obvious, I hope your speeches next time will incorporate the 2 rules of speech writing. 1, speak and then write. Number 2, make it simple, add context and prosody. Thank you.
Give a great applause to the speaker who has given us a history of the beginning of the writings. That was a wonderful research on this one and a good presentation from Deepa. Thank you so much, Toastmaster Deepa, for this great presentation, and where we can learn and practice as you are suggesting before we speak. As it is said that evaluation is the breakfast of champion, and it is only in the Toastmasters platform this opportunity is obtained due to its educational system. So let us start the evaluation of the 2 speakers. Let me call upon our first evaluator, DTM Milan Kulapkar, to evaluate the first speaker, Toastmaster Vinu Karthik. Over to you, DTM Milan.
Okay. So can I have a Vinu on the Zoom? So I can look at him. Thank you. My target speaker, Vinu Karthik. What I liked most, your topic was time management, and you came straight to the topic. And you put your solution or the problem statement. You said every leader has one problem, time management. And then you elaborately explained the solutions, how to overcome time management. And not only that, you very simply, in a very simplistic language, illustrated what each of those terms meant. So any layman, including me, I could understand what you were saying, especially in this technological high-tech 5G thing, the problems which we are having, we are getting diverted, etc., and how we can move from our comfort zone to the zone where we want to work, and that Pareto's technique 80-20. So in all, you gave a fantastic solution for each one of us, which we can follow, and that way you successfully completed your project on what you wanted to say. So kudos to you. Now, areas where you can consider to take your speech to the next level. You took 8 minutes, 10 seconds. There's an issue which they say, no, walk the talk. When you are giving a speech on time management, you may have to just look on that. Maybe we'll go practice, prepare the script, so that would have been easier. And number 2, to make it more impactful, to make sure that we take those key takeaways. You can plan your speech that in 5 minutes you are completing what you want to say. And now you are coming to conclusion, again recalling. So what is the solutions? 1, 2, 3, so that we can take that and we can recall in next 2 minutes. So by that you can do. So I am sure with this fantastic substance which you have, and the bit of time management and the planning and organizing, you will take your speech to the next level. Over to the event chair, Toastmasters Joseph.
Thank you, BTM Milanji, but I have one little bit of suggestion from my side to Toastmaster Vino. Since you have a number of numericals such as statistics are there, you could have shown in the PowerPoint so that people could remember it rather than because of your slow mode of presentation. Thank you so much. Now, I would call upon the second speaker to evaluate the speech of Toastmaster Deepa Sampath Kumar. Over to you, Toastmaster Anita Rao.
Thank you so much, Joseph, sir, and a very special good evening to my target speaker, Toastmaster Deepa. Of course, you are a brilliant speaker, you are a seasoned speaker, and I'm sure everybody in the room knows this. So, which is why allow me to share what you have yet once again demonstrated, that when something appears extremely flawless, it actually is just a testimony to the experience and the trial and error that has already been put behind it. So a very commendable job on completing your project, because this project was all about researching and presenting, and researching and presenting is all about providing enough details, enough analytical information, or what we call the left brain information. The evidence of the same could be very well seen in usage of statistics like 7,000 years, 5,000 years, Syria, like names, locations, professor. So a lot of details were provided through the speech, not just the two rules per se, but throughout the content of the speech, which is why I felt that it was apt for this particular project. Of course, as a speaker also, you are checking all the boxes that are there, which is voice modulation, having a very pleasant personality, having an opening question which generated curiosity. Honestly, I did wonder, indeed, did people really write speeches, or where did it all begin? So honestly, got that grace cells, I think, ticking for all of us. So starting with that opening question was a brilliant idea. Good usage of language, some interesting words like language instinct, and the two rules per se, speak and then write. I'll remember it for a long time to come. Providing context and prosody. Personally, I believe in that. So all these were things you did exceedingly well. Of course, because you're also a seasoned speaker, I'm tempted to split hairs a little bit. So allow me to do that. And these are just my personal feelings. One thing is, again, because it was to do with researching and presenting, a brief PowerPoint could have been great, where either even through a simple flow chart for one slide and another flow chart, another slide for just giving examples for the two rules would have been great. Slight disagreement on the speech medium being auditory, because while it's auditory, there are more visual absorbers. So a PowerPoint that way always helps. Again, like I said, I'm splitting hairs here. I think the time, probably you exceeded time by a few seconds is what my understanding would be. The allocation of the two rules, I felt like the first rule was simpler and hence needed less time than the second rule, whereas the apportioning of the time was the other way around. I would probably do it ulta, because you did keep me wanting for more. Again, only because it's you, Deepa, probably I wouldn't expect a fumbling if you're telling a professor's name. It had to be like completely at the tip of your tongue, or you just say a famous Harvard professor, and you know that there's no slip of the tongue at all there. But overall, I feel like all of us got a chance to learn something very new. And the two rules of writing is something all of us will absorb for a fair amount of time to come. So keep speaking, and I will look forward to keep listening. Thank you so much. And over to you, Joseph, sir.
Thank you, Toastmaster Anita Rao. It's a wonderful evaluation that you have done. Now it is time for me to call the Rolex of Speech Weavers Club. He's the founder of online cum offline finances setup that offers and advises on all financial products. He's also the director of Deep Pockets Technology Private Limited. Toastmaster Adarsh, welcome to you, and please give us the timing report of all the speakers. Thank you. Also the evaluators.
Greetings, Toastmasters and guests, as well as my fellow president, Toastmaster Joseph. As the Rolex of Speech Weavers, I have clearly failed today because I had a very dreadful time timing all the speeches because I missed out on a few cards. I hope I may have probably, I'm not sure how many people noticed that. If you didn't notice it, then I think I could have probably escaped if I had not said this. Regardless, I'm here to present my report as a timer for today. And the Sergeant of Arms took around 3 minutes today. And apologies, I was not able to display the cards. So it is truly my fault why you went overtime. And then our president exactly took 4 minutes today. So that was well within time. Our Evan Shah, who's also our president, took around 3 minutes and 18 seconds, which is slightly overtime, but it doesn't matter. Our keynote speaker was well within time. He took 19 minutes and 25 seconds. Our Q&A moderator took around 10 minutes and 42 seconds, which is slightly over time, probably by around 42 seconds. Our speakers, both of them exceeded the time by a long stretch. Toastmaster Vinu took 8 minutes and 10 seconds. Good luck speaking on time management. Toastmaster Deepa took around 9 minutes and 10 seconds, which is way over time. And then DTM Millen took well over 2 minutes, but he was well within time with his evaluation, which is great. Then Anita took around 3 minutes and 12 seconds, which is also within time because there's a grace period of 30 seconds for the evaluator. So that is it for my report. And I would say that we are almost well within time during today's session. I was actually a bit scared. And as a matter of fact, I was looking myself and I'm the Rolex of Speech Weavers, if I'm not wrong. And I was scared and panicking the entire time, but it's good to see that all of us were well within time. Thank you very much, and back to you.
Thank you, others, for keeping the Rolex time so accurately. Now it's the time for us to give you a vote of thanks, and I call upon Toastmaster others to give the vote of thanks. Over to you, Toastmaster others.
Once again, very good evening. It was an absolute pleasure to see all of you during today's session. I think there were some interesting moments that we have planned together on behalf of the executive committee, myself and Toastmaster Joseph and a bunch of other officers, all of whom worked extremely hard to make this event happen. I would like to thank the people that worked on the posters, Toastmaster Gunjan. I'd also like to thank our VP membership for having publicize this event in the best way it possibly can. I'd like to thank our Toastmaster Joseph, who also happens to be our event chair for this evening, for having organized such an amazing event involving Toastmaster Fursey, whom I felt I have not listened to in quite some time. So it was absolutely incredible that I got that opportunity, as well as the others. I speak on behalf of everybody as I say that it was an incredible event. I would like to thank our speakers for today, Toastmaster Vinu and Toastmaster Deepa, for actively participating and helping the club in its quest to become a President Distinguished Club. I'd like to thank the guests for joining us. I'd like to thank our evaluators for today, DTM Millen, as well as Toastmaster Anita, for having accepted the role of playing an evaluator. I think it was last night when I actually went and asked her, can you be our evaluator for today? And trust me, she's always full of enthusiasm, so she has never really turned me down except for one time. But I think she really had a reason for turning me down at that time. And this time she couldn't escape. I couldn't get her off my hook. Thank you very much for joining us from the Garden City Toastmasters Club. I'd like to thank all the others inside the room, Shiva, Arjun, Bethlehem. Someone is joining us from Bethlehem, or maybe that's the person's name. Apologies if I've gotten that wrong. I would like to thank Toastmaster Adarsh. That is from one Adarsh to another. I'd like to thank Toastmaster Adarsh Chandran for joining us. Danielle, thank you for joining us. And Dr. Pasha, thank you for joining us. I look forward to seeing all of you at our upcoming meetings. And our next meeting will be our 706 meeting. So we are setting one milestone after another, and hopefully all of us can be a part of this journey till we reach the 800 meeting. Back to you, Toastmaster Joseph. But all of you, please direct your attention to the chat box, because I've put up the voting link to cast your votes for your favorite speakers and evaluators. And once you're done, I will be announcing the results. So for now, back to you, event chair, Toastmaster Joseph.
Thank you, others, for the vote of thanks, which is very heart rendering, I would say. I have some very good announcements to make. Next week, we have another great keynote speaker, DTM Rashmi Raghav, who is the president of Formosa Toastmasters Club Malacca on the subject power of speaking. It will be of great speech, especially while we are heading for contest. And it will be a real boosted dose for the contestants to gain additional knowledge on public speaking, for which we are going to have a contest. The first week, that is on 24th, you will have ISC contest as well as evaluation contest from our club level. Following week, we would like to have a table topic contest as well as tall tale contest, which I am introducing this time in our club in order to have a member take the chance to win on every attempt to be made for all the 4 contests that has been going to be conducted by our Speech Weavers Club. In the meantime, the winner will be ready to announce. As the president of the club, I once again thank the keynote speaker who, in spite of his busy schedule, wholeheartedly accepted my invitation and graced the occasion with lots of takeaways and Toastmasters as well as non-Toastmasters as an encouragement to join the Toastmasters sooner or later. I also personally thank our visiting role players from outside clubs for their enthusiastic acceptance of our invitation to the club. We'll keep this friendly relationship in every meeting of Speech Weavers Club. We will always exchange the role takers of every club. God bless you all. The meeting number 705 is adjourned.
Joseph, so we'll have to announce the winners. So I'll quickly go ahead and announce the winners on behalf of Toastmaster Joseph. The best speaker in today's meeting was, without a doubt, Toastmaster Deepa, but also a round of applause to Toastmaster Vinu because it was his first time back at our club in quite some time. And the fact that he was able to step up and deliver a speech during a time like that, after having what he's gone through, is simply amazing. A round of applause to Toastmaster Deepa for being our best speaker and Toastmaster Vinu for joining us today. The best evaluator in today's meeting, it was, oh no, it is quite split, to be very honest. It's split between, okay, it's not exactly split. One person has a vote more than the other, and the winner here is Toastmaster Anita. Thank you for joining us at Speech Weavers and being our best evaluator this evening. And overall, we've been given an average rating of 4.5 stars, I believe, for our meeting, which is incredible. I'm looking forward to the remaining 0.5 to come in. I'm not sure when that will come in. Your feedback will be noted and we'll implement that in upcoming meetings. So back to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Adarsh. Now I would like to have the opinion of the guest. Will Quera Mijayawala. Am I correct spelling it?
It's actually Kaira Niyajiwala. So I really enjoyed the meeting, and I came in the meeting saying I'll just stay for the keynote, but I stayed right till the end. So it was a great meeting, and I really enjoyed it, and I learned a lot from it. So that's my feedback. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kaira. Welcome all the time whenever you feel like attending our club. Now we'll go to Bethlehem Nesibu. Are you present there?
Yes, I am. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Bethlehem joining in or dialing in from Ethiopia. Unfortunately, I did not calculate the time difference correctly, so I missed everything, unfortunately. But I'm glad to be here.
Thank you so much. And guest Arjun, will you be able to? Guest Arjun is there?
Yes, I'm here. So thanks for inviting. I mean, it was a really great meeting. We had very good takeaways, especially with regards to speeches, like how to prepare speeches and all. Moving forward, I really enjoyed the club's meeting. I mean, I'm looking forward to attending future meetings also. Thank you.
Toastmaster Adarsh Chandran, you are always on board. Good, you are on the ground, not on the air.
Yeah. I arrived late, only for 20 minutes I have been here in the meeting. For that 20 minutes, I have enjoyed every bit. I was disappointed because my backup device was low on battery. So I was skeptical if I would be able to attend today. And it is quite coincidental again that I have come in the same shirt as the last meeting, and similarly in car also. And last thing to say, my thought did not go that much. However, earlier I have received a feedback from my mother. Okay, generally I do virtual applause during meetings to appreciate and encourage the speakers. However, my mother provided a feedback. Others, if you provide a virtual applause like this, we can understand it's virtual applause, but there are people who are walking around in the street, especially ladies. They may think that you are flirting with them and you may get a slap. So I have stopped that.
Thank you so much, Adarsh Chandran. Dr. Pasha, any opinion of yours?
Yes, usual, sir. As always, I enjoyed the speeches here. I'm very happy to be here. Today's speeches were really very informative, much needed for me, especially for me. I'm also planning to give my next speech next week here. So both the speeches were very informative, Venu as well as Deepa ma'am. It is always nice to be with you all, sir. Thank you so much.
Welcome, Dr. Pasha. Adarsh, have you taken the photographs of all the people?
No, sir, I'm not. Maybe we can do it now, I guess.
Yeah, please
turn on your
open
videos.
all your videos so that
Arjun, if you can unmute your video.
Guest Arjun, Bethlehem Nessie, please come with your video. Thank you.
Great.
Guest Arjun, we aboard on the car. Are you there, Arjun? Okay. Yeah.
Okay, we have him on.
Yeah, great.
Okay.
All right, everyone. 3, 2, 1. We are done.
Thank you and have a nice evening with your families and friends. God bless you all.